Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Fastballs Sports Network Wrestling WWE podcast. And Mark, we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, can you on Survivor Series? Exciting.
Yeah, WWE jumped the gun a little bit with those qualifying matches, for sure. I thought we were gonna have some time to guess our teams completely, but we already know three of the members of the Raw men's team and all five of the members of the Raw women's team. But we'll talk about it. Let's first start at Hell in a Cell. Pay-per-view overall, what do you think?
It was fun. I think the Roman match was really good and Sasha Bayley was really good. The rest left some to be desired, but it was a standard pay-per-view.
I thought the end of McIntyre Randy really surprised me. I think it surprised both of us. So surprises are good.
But was it a good surprise?
I don't see. The thing is if it was left on McIntyre, he would do great things with it. And now that it's on Randy, he's going to do great things with it. So to me, it's a neutral. I'm not happy that Drew lost it. I'm not happy that Randy gained it. It doesn't matter to me. I think they're both great.
The timing just feels weird to take it off Drew.
The timing is weird. But they felt that it was time for Randy. Listen, the last match, it took 4 legends to beat Randy, so this is really a push now for Randy Orton.
Yeah.
But let's start with the first match of the night, and that'll be R-Truth defeating Drew Gulak. No, I'm kidding. We don't have to start with that. But that did happen. R-Truth defeated Drew Gulak in a regular match for the 24/7 championship on the pre-show. How do you feel about that? You think we should get more 24/7 championship regular matches?
It's pretty weird. Was it like screwy? I didn't watch any of it.
5 minutes and 25 seconds, and I believe R-Truth rolled them up.
It's not great for Gulak.
I had big fantasy implications, so I was not watching the pre-show yet. But yeah,
definitely not a good look for Drew, who was formerly in a program with Daniel Bryan not that long ago, and now he's losing to R-Truth in actual matches. It's definitely not good.
Not a good look. I agree. All right, we will move on. First match of the night really set the stage. You said that you like this match: Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso in an I Quit Hell in a Cell match, the first ever I Quit Hell in a Cell match. Roman, the champion, won, and he did it in a very dark and sinister and also creative way. He took Jimmy Uso and put him in his new submission. I'm actually not sure what he calls it yet. I got to learn the name of that submission. But it's basically a bear hug armbar, and to try and describe it the best I can. And basically, Jimmy came out to save Jey, and then Jimmy got put in the submission, and Jey had to quit because he didn't have anything left. He couldn't protect Jey. He was gonna break Jimmy's arm, basically, or put him out. And now that they lost, they are Roman's indentured servants, to use the term that Paul Heyman used to describe it on the pre-show. They now are Roman's lackeys, and I think we knew that this stable was going to kind of come, that the family was going to kind of be the family.
Yeah.
My question to you is, do you think that there's a lot of pushback from the Usos, or do you think that they eventually wind up embracing the role of Roman's lackeys?
I think early on they'll act conflicted and they'll be like, we probably shouldn't be doing this, but Roman will be like, go do it. And then before you know it, they'll win the tag titles back and they'll kind of buy into it. And he got the little support or like delay from his dad and the other Wild Samoan. So
his uncle, right?
His uncle. So obviously the Usos are a part of all this and they kind of have to be in.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really well done. Again, the storytelling has been some of the best, I think, in years, in this feud with this family storyline. Maybe they're at an unfair advantage compared to every other story because there's literally blood involved here, but I just think they've done a really, really, really good job with the story.
And they're actually taking their time and telling a good story. They're not rushing anything. They're not just doing a one-off nonsense. It's really good.
And this was 2 matches, and now you perceive for him to be done with Jey after this is over, and he's going to move on to Randy Orton. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I think that they really closed up that part of the story nice and now have opened themselves up to making Roman, first of all, Roman looked unbeatable the last few times he's wrestled. And now I feel like he looks even more unbeatable because now he's going to have one and eventually two, literally, as Paul Heyman calls them, indentured servants doing his bidding. So, I mean, it's going to be hard to beat Roman Reigns.
They'll look really good once the Usos take the titles off the Street Profits and like the three of them are in the ring together. It's going to look like a really like menacing team.
And the Street Profits versus the Usos, as soon as Jimmy does get healthy, that could be a potential match of the year in terms of tag team wrestling because those are four talented individuals. But we will move on. Elias defeats Jeff Hardy by disqualification. He went to hit him over the head with the guitar, and then Jeff took the guitar, hit Elias. I don't really think there's a lot left we have to talk about. This feud is going to continue. You got anything to say, or you want me to just move on?
This really felt like a one-off, let Jeff win, and they obviously didn't do that. It continued into Monday where they both hit each other with chairs again, with guitars again. It just doesn't really matter. I think it's funny. I know we had this last week when you're like, he was innocent. I'm like, oh, we don't know that for sure. Like, just like to keep this going. I mean, I guess you need stories. It's whatever.
All right. Yeah. No, I feel the same way. We'll let it completely finish before I judge the stable. But I would say it's not off to the hottest start. I'm not the stable, the feud, but I would say it's not off to the hottest start. I think the premise of the feud is a little ridiculous. All right. This is the one where I know that we're going to disagree on the outcome, but it was The Miz and John Morris. I'm sorry, The Miz versus Otis. Otis had Tucker in his corner. Miz had John Morrison in his corner. They wrestled. They put on what I perceive to be a pretty decent match, all things considering. With the time they only got 8 minutes, not even. They got 7 minutes and 25 seconds. John Morrison gets thrown out. It looks like Otis is rolling. He's about to hit the worm. And all of a sudden, Tucker blindsides Otis with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Did you see this coming?
No. I mean, just because I wasn't invested at all, maybe people that were following this story on a weekly basis, like, did see this coming. I mean, all tag teams eventually break up. That's how it works. Like, so it's not like can't be stunned. I think at the moment it was a little shock value. We're like, oh wow, that actually just happened. But I'm surprised they took the briefcase off him.
I was really surprised that when it happened. I mean, you heard my reaction. You were next to me. I was like, why did this happen? So I guess it did its job in that thing. But I think this goes back to that underlying issue with WWE where, so they start these pushes with these young talent, right? Otis is a generally new, younger talent. I mean, he can't be on the upside of 35, right? He's not that old.
He's like probably 30-ish.
He's a young talent compared to, right? So you start this feud and listen, whether you believe in the decision to get behind Otis or not, they did it, right? They gave him the Money in the Bank briefcase. They got behind him, right? So now they give him this Money in the Bank briefcase. They have him tease a cash in once against Braun Strowman, where Mandy's out there because Tucker had COVID that week and he teamed with Braun Strowman. They didn't tease the briefcase at all. Like, they didn't tease any type of cash in. He would just hold it, and like, it was weird. And then they make the decision to take it off of him to give it to The Miz, who at this point in his career, I think he's going to make a phenomenal WWE champion on the microphone. I just don't know if it was really necessary for The Miz to win it all.
That's fair. I think it was definitely a smart decision to take the briefcase off of him just because he's a joke. We had this dialogue back and forth, like he's a comedy act. There's no reason for him to be holding the briefcase, which is supposed to be like a really serious, cool form of storytelling that is being totally wasted by having.
But if you're gonna take it off of him, why give it to The Miz?
That's where I'm getting at. Where like
why not start a program with Aleister Black or a program with
Aleister Black? Aleister Black is like beyond married. He doesn't matter anymore. But
that's true.
But there's a lot of guys.
Angel Garza, like somebody like that. Like, why is The Miz?
There's got to be an ulterior
motive.
Like, to me,
that's the whole problem here.
Yeah.
Like, if you're fine, you decide you don't want to go with Otis. You're Vince. You went with Otis, and then you decide, oh well, you know what? Maybe I can't make this work in story for whatever. But what I believe that's actually one of the issues because, like we said, like just with Aleister Black is beyond buried. He got like a little push, and then they never brought him. Now Otis got like a little push, and they never pushed him. Like, I'd rather than push somebody, even if it's someone I don't like. Like, just give it a shot.
I think Morrison would have been better than The Miz.
I agree with that a lot. And I was going to ask you next, where do you think what happens to John Morrison now?
He'll keep like hanging out with the Miz. He'll keep like being like his like funny like blacky guy, but I don't know. It can only go on for so long until he eventually. But again, like the Miz isn't going to cash in. Like I guess he can cash in on Randy, but I don't know when that.
Honestly, I could see the big dog just leaving Randy in the dust and then the Miz coming in that night and cashing in.
Maybe.
It's just the nature of what they're trying to do with Roman Reigns right now. If they really wanted to make a statement, they could be like, oh, like he just laid out one of the greatest, WWE superstars of all time and left him flat on his face. And the Miz didn't even, if it would be really something if like he left him just lying there in the middle of the ring. The Miz didn't have to do anything. And he just ran up, cashed in the briefcase, and just pinned him. Like he didn't even hit a skull crushing finale or anything like that.
That would be cool, but now Randy's already starting a program with the Fiend, and now McIntyre's back involved, so he can't really.
That's true.
Change that yet.
Hey, listen, I'm in for a fatal four-way at the Rumble. Let's see how. What'd you say?
With the Miz as the fourth
guy.
Yeah,
Miz, Randy, Fiend, McIntyre. It sounds like a fun little match right there. I don't think there's been enough multi-men championship matches.
I was gonna say we haven't seen a fatal four-way in a long time.
So that's what I'm saying. Like 3 or 4 guys in the championship match. Like if they're really going for a triple threat match between the Fiend, McIntyre, and Randy, I'm in for that. Like
because,
I'm 100%.
I mean, they can't tell a coherent story with 2 people, let alone 4.
All right, we will move on to one of my favorite matches of the night. I thought it was a little long, but the ending sequence was excellent. Sasha Banks defeats Bayley by submission to regain the women's championship. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't agree with the decision to put the belt on Sasha just yet, or at all. Like we were talking last week when we did this, and basically I thought that it would be really cool if Bayley just kept it, like just kept like putting everyone in the dust. That being said, the match was excellent. There's no denying that. They put on a great match. Like I said, it was a little long, 26 minutes, 35 seconds. That was the third longest match of the night, but the Roman match was longer, and that wasn't really all match. That was a lot of like people. That was like 6 or 7 minutes of people just telling Roman, "Don't do that. Don't hit him anymore." So it was basically the second longest match of the night. But yeah, I don't like the decision, but I love the match.
No, that's fair. This is also like a weird timing where this is their first match where it probably shouldn't have happened. Like obviously not their first match ever, but their first match since the feud started, where you don't usually switch the titles in like a big blood feud on the first match. Like I was really confident in some way Bayley was going to find a way to retain and it was going to continue going maybe into the Rumble, into something, but they gave Sasha the belts. It's going to be really interesting to see what Bayley does on Friday. I'm really interested to see like if she cuts a promo, what she does there. Maybe she like declares that she's going to enter the Rumble and beat her. I don't know, but the timing was weird, but the match was great, like you said.
Yeah, right. It's interesting that we keep mentioning the Rumble, but I mean, we are only 2 pay-per-views away. We have Survivor Series, which isn't gonna change title implications at the actual match because no titles are gonna change hands on the actual match, except for maybe that 24/7 championship. And then we have unknown pay-per-view. I'm sure somebody knows what it is, but I don't know off the top of my head what it is. I thought it was usually Extreme Rules at the end of the year, but I believe we just had an Extreme Rules pay-per-view. So I don't think it's going to be Extreme Rules. So something will be in December to Dismember.
Like a Payback or something.
Payback, yeah. Something like that will be in December. I'm assuming that will be one of the most uneventful, and rightfully so. The December pay-per-view for me, because of everything that's happening, you have all the holidays going on. Nobody's locked in. And then you have the best pay-per-view of the year, or in my opinion, the best pay-per-view of the year when it's done right. Royal Rumble, right around the corner. I give them, if the December pay-per-view is the worst pay-per-view every year, I don't even care. Like I'm not mad at all about that because
it's usually everyone retains, nothing really exciting happens.
Yeah, one change and it's something that we saw coming a mile away type of thing.
It's a filler,
and that's fine. Like I'm so fine with that. I don't care at all.
Yep.
But let's move on. We got 2 matches left. Oh, this has started to give me a headache talking about this because I just don't. This is the questionable booking continues. Bobby Lashley defeats Slapjack by submission to retain the United States Championship. Why have this match at all? That's my question.
This
is a headache, right? Go ahead. Yeah, I'm talking too much. Go ahead.
I was just saying, just keep on building up Bobby. So that's good on that front. But like I've said this before to you. I don't know if I said it on this, but I've watched wrestling for at least 15 years now, and I've never seen anything more questionable than the booking of Retribution. I just don't get like what we're doing here. And then Mustafa cuts a promo like, "We lost again, but we're gonna win. It doesn't matter."
It was like we lost again, but we won because we hurt you. But it's like you got hurt more. You lost in a submission match. Like that sounds like it hurts. I don't know.
It just doesn't make any sense. And like
I watched Khabib put out Justin Gaethje, and believe me, Gaethje didn't win because he got a few good hits on him. The guy who put the other guy to sleep won the match. It was a whole thing. Anyway,
do you think they have a plan? Do you think this is part of a bigger thing? Like,
I mean, I think they have a plan. The question is not. I believe that they generally have a plan for everything. The question is the plan any good? And right now, it doesn't appear that it is. I think they need to add somebody to the stable. First of all, I think they need to take the dumb masks off. I hate the masks, but I kind of like the masks now because they're protecting these wrestlers so they can come back as other people when this stable eventually fails, because that's what it looks like is going to happen. Like, I can't judge what they're going to do with it. Maybe next Monday on Raw, they have a complete turn and we're like, oh, okay, that's what they were waiting for. They did that, and now they're like back on the map, right? But the projection right now has not been good.
Maybe the big reveal is like they take their masks off like after they lose like X amount of times, and they're like, all right, we're serious now. But like, I don't know if that's really a good idea.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Like, Hurt Business literally make fun of them like in promos. They're like, oh, who we fighting? Slapjack? Who we like? It's just like we're all making fun of them, and like they're making fun of them on TV. Like, how is this? Mustafa Ali is supposed to be incredible. He's like cowardly running away. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't. Mustafa Ali not beating Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin in the 2-on-1s, like cement himself as like this big deal heel, is crazy to me. And also, that's the other thing. We have two heel stables here, right? We're not rooting for Retribution. They're not faces. Like, and we're not rooting for the Hurt Business. Like, they beat up random strangers on Raw. They were like, oh, you can't use our bathroom. And then they like all like pretend to go and attack the guy. And then when he runs away scared, they laugh. Like, that's not a face stable to me. I don't know. That doesn't sound like something a face would do. John is rolling over in his Hollywood king size bed right now. That's a face stable, you know?
It's a mess.
Let's move on. Last match of the night, and then we can get on to Survivor Series. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. We talked about it a little bit before. You said, was it the right decision to put the belt on Randy? Like I said, I don't really have anything to say about this match other than it was pretty decent. Again, a little long, but it was decent. Good spots there at the end, and then again, we were surprised. I don't think Randy's a terrible choice for champ. Obviously, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. So I think the belt will be fine in his hands. And I think it would have been fine if they would have kept it on McIntyre. Either way, I think it was a win-win.
Yeah, and I read that a lot of people backstage, like the superstars especially, were confused with taking the belt off Drew here, just the timing of it. Like, obviously, no one is going to bat an eye at Randy Orton. He's one of, if not the greatest of all time. But it's just such a weird timing. Like, after all this with Drew, like he beat all these guys, and just to drop it now. And then I thought, all right, maybe he'll like take on a leadership role and take on Team Raw and say, I'm the captain, whatever. But he's just right back in it with Randy, and now the feet. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do still think that Drew will take on the Survivor Series role, which is a great segue to our next thing, our next like topic, and that'll be predicting our Survivor Series teams. So for the men, or I should start with the Raw women, because we already know who the Raw women are, and that is Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Mandy, Dana Brooke, and Lana. And Mark, for the 6th straight week, Lana got tossed through the announce table by Nia Jax. Are you hysterically laughing every time you see it?
No, I thought it was funny the first 2 times, and then it got pretty stupid. And this was after she qualified for the team, so she like joined Nia's team, and then Nia just did it anyway. But like, again, like I texted you this, like Vince is probably rolling around thinking this is the funniest thing ever, but like it's kind of dumb. A lot of people speculate that this is part of like Rusev leaving and like just burying Lana on her way out, but she's winning matches, so it doesn't really.
I was about to say they keep like saying she's getting buried, but now she got the spot over. Who was it? It was Lacey Evans
Nikki Cross and
Cross
and Peyton Royce.
and Peyton Royce, right?
I
Peyton
think
Royce, by the way, looked great in that match. I thought she was going to win the way they were like booking that match, and then of course Lana came in, and
all three of those girls should be on the team over all three of the girls not named Nia and Shayna.
I disagree with that. I think Mandy definitely deserves to be on this team.
Why?
The stuff that because the stuff that she did with what's her name? Dana. What's
Sonya?
her name? Sonya. Thank you. Could not think of it.
That was months
good.
ago. That was months ago. She's done nothing since.
Okay, but when's the last time Lacey Evans did anything?
She should be doing things. She's actually good.
Okay, but when's the last time Peyton Royce did anything?
They split her up from her tag team to try to make her a big deal, and the first thing they did was make her lose a huge match.
So the only person that's really been doing anything besides Mandy is Nikki Cross, who just came off feud with Bayley, and I think absolutely should be in this match. But I think Mandy was definitely the right choice. I think you're right about Lana. I don't think Dana Brooke should have been in this match either, but she always finds her way in these matches.
I told you, she always finds her way in these matches.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so it's the night of Survivor Series, and Nia puts Lana through the table before the match starts. And now Team Raw needs a replacement. They're scrambling to find a replacement. Give me a name or two. Who's replacing Lana if this is the way they go? I mean, because we see these things all the time, right? We see these things all the time.
And that hypothetical has to be Naomi, right?
I have two names written down. Naomi is one of them, and the other one is a returning Charlotte Flair.
That'd be bad if that's how they brought back Charlotte. That's not
well. If they brought back Charlotte, that guarantees the win for the Raw Women's team, right? Like Soul Survivor, Charlotte Flair, right?
Yeah.
But I think the pop would be big. You know, the computerized pop would be big.
That would not be the way to bring back Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for the Raw Women's team. I'm a little disappointed, but honestly, looking at the talent on Raw, there wasn't really a lot they could do with this anyway. I'm not in love with Dana and Lana being on the team, but we'll give them a chance, let them shine. Who knows? If Vince has Lana go through a table every single week until Survivor Series, and then somehow makes her the sole survivor of this match, then I don't think we can pull the Rusev card anymore. Like if she becomes sole survivor of the Raw Women's team, like that's it. Like everyone has to stop. All right, everyone on my timeline on Twitter has to stop. Like she's getting this massive push, whether or not she deserves it. They're riding with her, and she's gonna take down Asuka at WrestleMania after winning the Royal Rumble. Okay, like that's just the way it is. All right, I don't want to hear anything about it.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
And doing it all with her new table gimmick, where she becomes the table, as you said last week.
She becomes one with the table.
She becomes one with the table. All right, continuing on the men's team right now, we have it confirmed: Keith Lee, AJ Styles, and Sheamus. You like those three members?
I thought Riddle should have won instead of Sheamus, but it's fine. Doesn't really matter.
I understand why Sheamus is on this team because one, it was turning into last year's NXT men's team with Keith Lee and Matt Riddle already, and two, they wanted the name. They wanted Sheamus. They wanted the name. I understand it. I agree with you. I would have put Riddle on it, but
does Riddle ever win? I feel like Riddle always loses. Does he ever win matches?
He does lose a lot, but he always puts on good matches every time. Like this match with Sheamus was phenomenal. Good. Yeah.
I think it comes back to they're afraid of like doing real things with him until he's like cleared of everything. But he's still on TV though, so it's weird.
Yeah, I agree. So my two next people in I have right now are Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman as the two remaining members for Team Raw.
Okay, I have Braun and Angel Garza.
Okay,
I
like the pick.
I don't think Drew's in this match.
I told you to put 7 people in, right? Who were your last two? Like, who were your first two out, I should say?
Miz and Morrison.
Mine were also Miz and Morrison. That's funny. Yeah, so I think Miz, if we're going to keep him as like a legitimate top talent on Raw, there's no reason to believe that he can't be in this match. I think he would definitely be one of the next people in if, like you said, McIntyre.
Otherwise, all he would do would like cut a promo and like tease the cash in. So like he kind of has to do something, right?
Yeah, I agree. Again, and if you want to push Miz as like this big deal that's going to take down Randy, making him sole survivor here in a match that's going to that always features huge names on both sides, Raw and SmackDown, and we'll get into the SmackDown team in a second. That would be a good way to go. It's a little bit different than Lana, but same premise. Yeah, but I think the men's team is really solid. Keith Lee, AJ Styles, and Shane, a really good start, I think, for the Raw side.
Keith obviously looked great last year. He got the elimination on Seth. He lost to Roman eventually, but he looked really good.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is a good chance for them to make him look like a force. Again, I keep talking about Soul Survivors, but that's another push that if they really are behind Keith Lee, as someone I see as a long shot to win or not a long shot, as someone I see as one of the favorites to win the Royal Rumble, knowing what I know now, obviously things can change. He could win. He could beat Bobby Lashley in the Hurt Business or something like that at the next pay-per-view, and he could be United States champion. And then I won't think he's going to win the Royal Rumble anymore. But as a long shot, again, if you make him sole survivor, that makes them look super strong.
He's got a little bit of like a feud going on right now with Braun, where I could totally see them taking each other out like during the match while they're teammates. But
Raw has a big lead, and then it becomes not a big lead because they both get counted out.
You see AJ putting his hands up. What are you guys doing? Like some crazy stuff. Like
AJ's bodyguard is standing there, like he goes in, like, what do they do?
I think AJ said he wants to be the captain. I don't know if he is the captain, but that'll be a funny dynamic.
Oh yeah, no, that's exciting. And I think that will even be funnier on the SmackDown team when we talk about who we think might get on that one. But let's go over to the SmackDown women, and I'll tell you what, I like this team a lot more. Or the team that I put together. We don't actually.
I don't like my team at all, but I think I'm right. So you go.
Okay, I want to guess your team before I say my own team.
Okay, I guess I'll go first, but you can guess my team first.
All right, I want to guess your team. All right.
Okay.
So you have Natty and Tamina on there for sure.
Yep.
If you don't like it, you have Liv Morgan. No, Liv Morgan. So that means no Ruby Riott either.
No Riott Squad. They were the two on the outside looking in for me.
All right, so you need to have Bianca Belair on there then.
Yep.
And Bayley.
Nope.
No Bayley.
All right,
so that's Carmella.
I have Bianca Belair, Zelina Vega, Natalya, Carmella, and Tamina.
All right. Well, my team.
And I'm kind of confident.
My team would put your team in the dust. I have Bayley,
probably
Bianca, Belair, Liv Morgan, and Ruby Riott, and Carmella rounding out the team.
That's a lot better.
I have my next two are Natty and Tamina.
Dude, Natalya's in, no question. No question Natalya's in this match.
I feel like you're right. I know like when I did this, it was wishful thinking, but I just feel like I know that Natalya's definitely getting in.
I bet any amount of money Natalya's in this match.
And I feel like Tamina's like one of those people that they just put in these matches
every time
as like a big That being said, I do believe Bayley's gonna get in because I think she's gonna be bossy and stuff like that. It's like I don't think they're gonna leave them out. I don't see a purpose in leaving out people like Bayley and McIntyre. Like the Fiend, I get it. I would get why they just leave him off this card. Like he doesn't need to be in this card. He doesn't need to be a team member on the Raw team. Like that's above him.
Yeah.
But for like Bayley and McIntyre, like yes, they are still entangled in feuds with the current champs, but they can't fight those champs at Survivor Series. So hopefully it's not just going to be, because I think like that would be really dumb if like Sasha's gearing up for a match with Asuka and like every week she's just like talking to Bayley. Like, I don't know. That's why I'm like hoping. I think the team of Bayley and Bianca Belair will be a lot of fun too. I think that makes them legitimate. That gives them the legs to stand up to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. As first of all, Bayley just came off a historic women's championship run, like one of the longest ever. And Bianca Belair seems to be like someone that they're going to push, and for good reason. Bianca Belair is an absolute athlete. Like I'm not just talking about like the dumb like promos. Like when we see her in the ring, the few times that we've gotten to see her in the ring on the main roster, she's been absolutely awesome. So I think she's going to be the star of this match for sure. Either way, whether she wins the whole thing or they SmackDown winds up losing because they have Natty and Zelina Vega and Tamina.
I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Like, listen, I think this match would be helped out tremendously by Bailey. If Bailey was on this team, it would have a lot more star power, and like they could really match up with the likes of Nia and Shayna, and that's pretty much it. Because the Raw team's a joke, also. But it just doesn't really fit with her character. Maybe it'd be cool if like Adam Pearce made her join the team. Like, listen, Bailey, you lost, but you're going to be the captain for SmackDown or something. And she's like, I don't want to do that. And he's like, well,
I think if Adam Pearce was like, Bailey, you're the captain of Team SmackDown, she would like embrace, like she could like heel, embrace that, like being the captain and like leave people off and like get a kick out of that. I also think Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott are a pretty good chance to be on this. I didn't think that they were going to include the tag teams, but after they did it with Mandy and Dana and Shayna and Nia, I figured that they could definitely put Liv and Ruby, and they've had their beef with
yeah,
Shayna and Nia. So I think that
they were my two on the outside looking in, the two extra.
All right, so now let's go to the men's SmackDown team, which I guess, listen, there's a lot of talent on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of talent on SmackDown.
This was the only hard one when I was making these lists. This is the only one I had to really think about.
I'll go and do mine first. I have Seth Rollins, praying that Seth Rollins is on this team.
I don't have Seth.
And then I have, rounding it out, I have Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, who are talking about starting a tag team of their own, which would be really fun, I guess. We have Lars Sullivan, unfortunately. And then my next two are Otis and King Corbin. I feel like, again, King Corbin's one of those guys that just gets into these matches. And Otis is just if they decide not to completely bury Otis, maybe they'll throw him in this match.
Has King Corbin been on TV at all?
No, I haven't seen him in a while. Maybe he's not around, which would be good for this because, again, if he's around, I feel like he's like an Natalya type where he always just winds up being in one of these matches.
So I totally neglected Otis when I made mine, but he should probably be on my team also. Like, but do you think Tucker finds a way on Team Raw?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe like since it is SmackDown versus Raw, and like they could just do that as a pre-show match, like Otis versus Tucker by themselves.
Yeah.
And like they could do like, oh, okay, Otis won. That's 1 point for SmackDown. You know.
I think that makes more sense to do than waste a spot on both of them. I say waste because I don't like them, but I know. Yeah.
I don't think Otis would be a waste on SmackDown, but I do think Tucker would be a waste on Raw. So
all right.
I definitely know where you're coming from. But go ahead. What's yours?
My five are Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Lars Sullivan, Big E, and Chad Gable.
Okay, so we actually have the same team with the exception of I have Seth Rollins on mine and you have Chad Gable on yours. And I already know what you're going to say. And I think everyone at home watching this knows what you're going to say. You're not putting Seth Rollins on the team because you think he's going to be doing more stuff with Dom Mysterio and Buddy Murphy, right?
Like, no question whatsoever. Honestly, like, there's no question Seth's in some type of match with either Murphy or Dom or Ray. There's no chance otherwise.
All right, so I think his spirit has just been crushed, and he just can't. He doesn't hold out any hope anymore. But I'm going to hold out.
That's my favorite wrestler, and they're just wasting him.
That Seth freaking Rollins, the Friday Night Messiah, is not only not only on Team SmackDown, but leading it as their captain. And Daniel Bryan hates every second of it. And that'll be a great dynamic. I'm hoping. My fingers are crossed. Seth Rollins.
I will say though, like SmackDown's must watch this week with a lot of different storylines going on. I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm. Between what Roman's doing and what Seth is doing and what KO is doing.
Survivor Series, Kevin Owens. We got to see. Like, there's so much going on. The girls, Bianca Belair. There's so much happening.
Yeah.
Bailey.
All right. So then, the last question I have for you, we're going to dive into predictions as we get like a little bit more closer to the Thanksgiving weekend tradition that is Survivor Series. But for my last question to kind of close it out, we have the following matches that are also set for the night of Survivor Series. We have Sasha Banks versus Asuka. We have the New Day versus Street Profits. We have Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. And we have Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton. So my question to you is there a champion on that card right now that you see maybe not making it to Survivor Series? Because we know in the past, they've changed up matches so we don't have the same exact matches. They've changed up matches because they don't like two heels or two faces going against each other. We actually have a lot of... So Sasha's a face now, right?
Yep.
And Asuka's a face.
Yeah.
So that's two faces. We have
It doesn't
the
matter.
Street Profits, who are faces, versus the New Day, who are faces. We have Bobby Lashley, who's a heel, versus Sami Zayn, who's a heel. And we have Randy Orton, who's a heel, versus Roman Reigns, who's a heel. So actually, every alignment is the exact same right now if we're talking about just face and heel. I'm fine with this because of the way it is, because of the brand warfare. I don't care about heel and face at all, like during this time period. But that's not to say WWE won't. Is there someone on this card you see maybe changing it up?
If Jimmy is healthy, I can definitely see them winning the tag titles and fighting the New Day at Survivor Series. And like maybe Sami Zayn drops it, but besides that, everyone else holds it.
I agree. I don't think Sasha and Asuka are going anywhere. No. I think that they've already started. The New Day already like started making fun of the Street Profits on Raw. So I think that one looks like it's pretty safe is going to happen. And I also don't know if Jimmy's going to be healthy enough yet. I think that's like the biggest issue with that. But Sami Zayn is the one that I look at where I'm like, I was like, maybe he could lose it, but who would he lose it to? My only answer is Kevin Owens. Like that's the only guy I have right now. Maybe Big E. If they want to keep Big E's single push, and then they put Sammy on the SmackDown team.
Yeah, but they're building up Bobby so much. Might as well just give him the win. It doesn't really matter to like change it and then have Lashley win anyway.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got Roman and Randy. No one's touching Roman, and the only way Randy doesn't make it is if Miz cashes in, which I guess is not out of the realm of possibility completely. If you don't want Randy to look weak and you want Roman to just kill someone, he can kill the Miz. I don't think it happens before that. Yet. So yeah, that's pretty much it for us. Anything else you want to add? Survivor Series. Like I said, we'll go over wins and losses and stuff like that at a later date. Once we know the teams a little bit more and we can kind of like break down like, okay, like Keith Lee is not losing to Shorty G. I'm sorry, Chad Gable. He's not Shorty G anymore. But yeah, we could do that a little bit later. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else?
I'm really excited for SmackDown. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'm excited for Friday night too. It should be a doozy. Also, shout out to Becky Lynch. Hope you're doing good. That's one of my favorite moments in the lead out. I think that had to be a top moment, right?
Yeah,
like
easily.
I think this cemented Becky Lynch.
That's when she really became a big deal.
This was the moment when Nia Jax did her the biggest favor by busting her nose open because the blood rushing down her face as she and the rest of the SmackDown locker room just completely brought it to the Raw locker room was crazy. And then, of course, she got replaced by Charlotte in the match, which kind of stunk. But it is what it is. Like I said, I think it was better for her career that she got her nose broken there. I think this has got to be one of the most lasting images in WWE history at this point. Like they won't promote this because of the blood, obviously.
They do it in black and white.
But there you go. So, well, I mean, this made her. Obviously, all the credit in the world to her. She made herself, but this image cemented it, I would say. But yeah, that's it for us. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and we'll see you next week.